So your book, Savage Ecology, is difficult to summarize. And at a surface level, it is an intervention into the field of international relations and the role of ecology within geopolitics and political violence, or at least, it's a book at the intersection of these different dynamics, maybe we could say. At another level, it reads as somewhat as a user's guide to the future, or a speculative meditation on our catastrophic condition. And to begin, I want to read just a little fragment from the introduction, just to sort of set us up here. So Savage Ecology is a speculative reflection on the depths, nay, fathoms of shit we are in as a community of species. I'm certainly not alone in wanting to open up to the sheer magnitude of what confronts the planet. And yet I want to do so without losing sight of the real differences in politics, geography, history, meaning, and cosmology that modulate how each of us will confront the end of this epoch. In doing so, I hope to emphasize a refrain throughout the book that the end of the world is never the end of everything. An apocalypse is always more or less than an extinction. And whatever makes life out of the mess we are currently in will depend in some ways on how we come to understand the contemporary condition. So to begin, could you discuss how this refrain, the end of the world is never the end of everything, speaks to the overarching themes and problems laid out in Savage Ecology?
Sure, that's a great question. I think there were two different things I was trying to do kind of early on in the book. And the first is to kind of take the preciousness out of our current sense of doom. There's a sense that somehow this is like the first apocalypse that humans have faced. And I think that's a deeply depoliticizing move, and one that makes it all too easy to forget how much of the world is already post-apocalyptic, right? So, how much of the Americas and those peoples who were here before sustained European contact, right, had to overcome 20 million people dying, right? Their entire world becoming reforested, an ice age coming upon them. I can't imagine anything feeling more like an apocalypse than, watching that kind of death toll over that period of time. And it just literally changing the landscape of two continents. And, similarly, during and in the immediate aftermath of the Middle Passage, right? I mean, you're almost double-digit portion of the total global population was moved and killed as a result of the slave trade. And so, those are scale sort of events which we make legible through history, right? We make them into something that's the Middle Passage, or it's the American Genocide, or right, and that sort of conceptual limit to it, I think, makes it easier to think about it as an event as opposed to an apocalypse. So part of what I wanted to do is say, no, like these have been apocalypses. The fact that we're still here isn't evidence that there wasn't an apocalypse. It's just evident that, again, that there's always something left over. And I think that was the sort of second move, which was to say that when we talk about, particularly when people talk about, the end of humanity, or, that climate change is going to end the planet, what they really mean is that it's going to end a particular version of human civilization, right? A particular model of political economy, of travel, of understanding modernity, right? Those things will become unsustainable. The probability that no life will exist on the planet is very low. It's not even just low, it's almost impossible, right? The Earth has been through a lot before. And that's not to discount all the violence and all the hurt that will come along with those transformations. But I think if you accept either of the two premises, which the Anthropocene is often premised on, one, that this is the sort of first great apocalypse of humanity, or that if we don't do something about it, it's the end, right? It's a sort of existential limit to the weird talking, thinking things that we are, then there's a lot of sort of political, sacralization of this modern period that I think is really dangerous. And so, I wanted to both sort of up the apocalyptic tone of things, and in some sense also at the same time deflate the proprietary claim that I thought a particular sort of vanguard European group of states were making on that particular apocalypse.